What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dwayne Carter, and today we have a new video for you. That's right, I'll be out in the Duke community, and we'll be having a conversation on dialogue. Now, you may ask, where does this idea stem from? Why is my interest in dialogue so prevalent at this point in time in the Than Society? And I'll tell you what, because I'm a part of the Dialogue Laboratory course taught by Professor David Landis, and he gave us the opportunity to create our own project and kind of experience or explore our own academic interests and, future potential educator me and who I am. I decided to go out in the field and talk to different Duke students about dialogue and the difference between conversation, whether it's meaningful conversation, meaningless conversation, and anything else. So I'm excited to get out there. We also talk a little bit about growth and fixed mindset. So, let's get out in the field and see what these Duke students really think about dialogue. See you soon. All right, what's up, everybody? I'm here with Carter Wyatt. Carter, are you currently a Duke student?
I am.
What year are you?
Sophomore.
Sophomore. So, Carter, I have a couple questions today for you about dialogue. So you walk right through. Okay. So, what is dialogue to you, sir?
Dialogue to me, I feel like that's conversation, how you can express yourself through words.
For sure. Now, as a Duke student, do you feel that other Duke students practice dialogue, or is it just casual conversation? Like, do you feel like conversation is pointless or meaningful? What do you think your conversation here on campus?
Oh no, conversation is definitely meaningful. You got all kinds of people from all kinds of places. You never know who you're going to run into, who you're going to see down the road. So conversation and practicing dialogue is very important.
All right, thank you. And one last question. You feel like as Duke students, us as a community, do you think we practice more of a growth or a fixed mindset when it comes to, really just our daily tasks?
I think coming into Duke, it's more of a fixed mindset, but once you're here for a little bit, it transitions into more of a growth mindset, and you kind of broaden your horizon here at Duke.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Of course.
So I'm here with
Sonia.
Sonia. Thank you for agreeing to do this today. So I just want to ask you a couple questions about dialogue. So first, what is dialogue to you?
Like communication with others.
That's real. So do you feel like there's a difference in dialogue and actual just, casual conversation?
I would say no. I think dialogue can be like really formal, like a serious conversation, or it could just be something informal.
Okay. And now, do you feel like as Duke students, do you feel like we practice more dialogue or just casual conversation? Like, do you feel like it's more meaningful conversation or just like, timeless, just kind of just filling up space?
I don't think we really have like deep conversations as Duke students. I think it's kind of really surface level. Yeah.
And then my last question to you is, as Duke students, I feel like in order to practice dialogue, you have to have a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, right? So do you feel like at Duke, we as Duke students practice a more growth or fixed mindset?
I think we have a very fixed mindset here, which is probably why we don't have these like deep conversations because everyone's really like fixed. Yeah.
I appreciate your time. Thank you. All right, good afternoon, and I am here with
William Robertson.
Mr. Robertson. Are you a Duke student?
I am.
And what year are you?
I'm a senior.
All right, thank you for that. Well, thank you for, agreeing to participate in this interview this afternoon. And I just had a couple questions for you about dialogue. So first one is, what is dialogue to you?
To me, dialogue would be open communication, two parties talking it out.
It's a good answer. Now, I feel like there's a difference in dialogue and just, casual conversation. Would you agree?
Yeah, I could agree with that.
All right, for sure. So do you feel like Duke students here, we practice more dialogue or more just casual conversation?
That's a tough one. I think it depends on, what kind of circles you're in, what kind of situations you're in. I think there's a lot of both here at Duke. There's a lot of casual conversations, but with Duke students, I think you get a very intellectual group. Whenever you get super intellectuals together, you'll see that a lot of dialogue will come out after, kind of like what we're doing right now.
Yeah. That's real. So my last question for you is, in order to practice dialogue, I believe you have to have a growth mindset. So as Duke students, I feel like we go back and forth between a growth and a fixed mindset. What's your opinion? Do you think we practice more of a growth or a fixed mindset here at Duke?
I would actually say that most people have a growth mindset here at Duke. I think in my experience, what I've seen is that most people at Duke want to get better at whatever they're doing, and they want the community as a whole to get better. And to do that, I think that you really have to have a growth mindset. So I would say that I have observed more of a growth mindset here at Duke.
Well, those are all great answers. I appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Duke.
All right. Good afternoon. I'm here with
Placide.
Placide. Are you a Duke student?
I am,
All right. Well, Placide, are you okay if I ask you a couple questions this afternoon about dialogue?
of course.
All right. Thank you. So my first question is, what is dialogue to you?
Dialogue is the exchange of words and conversation and vocal communication between individuals or groups even.
Now that's real. So that's honestly the deepest answer I've gotten in all the interviews so far. So do you feel like, as a Duke student, do you feel like other Duke students, yourself included, of course, practice meaningful dialogue, or is it just more just casual conversation that's typically meaningless?
Like personal experience.
Yes.
What spaces are we talking about, in the classroom or?
Just whatever space you want to speak on.
I mean, personally in the classroom, I can say that I feel like we do practice pretty meaningful dialogue. You know, in the few courses I've taken here, I feel like, teachers as well as peers included, we contribute very meaningful ideas in a very constructive and respectful way.
That's real. So my last question for you is about the growth in the fixed mindset. Do you feel like a lot of people at Duke practice a growth mindset or a fixed mindset when it comes to the student body?
Now, I feel like that's a question that takes more time and specificity, because it's like in certain areas of the university, there's definitely growth. And in certain areas, there's also very fixed mindsets and approaches and ways of doing things. And so, like, I feel like you just got to take a holistic approach whenever looking into those things specifically, to be able to comment on whether or not I feel like they adopt which one.
That's awesome. Well, man, I appreciate those answers. Thank you for your time today.
Do you mind if I?
All right. So, Owen, what is dialogue to you?
Dialogue is a way of discourse between people and just talking to other people. I don't know.
No, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. Now, do you feel like there's a difference in dialogue and just casual conversation?
I think there's definitely a difference. Dialogue, I think, is more for talking about specific issues, and casual conversation, you're just talking to maybe your friend and having a casual conversation.
All right, that's a great answer. So do you feel like we as Duke students practice more dialogue or just casual conversation?
I think there's definitely a mix of both. I feel like as Duke students, we do a good job of mixing in between the two and definitely having some good dialogue.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So I feel like in order to practice dialogue, you have to have a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. And, we talk about all the rigors of here at Duke. So I'm curious, do you think that Duke students here have more of a growth or a fixed mindset?
I think we definitely have a growth mindset. We're willing to hear other ideas and to build upon our own ideas through dialogue and definitely through other ways as well.
Oh, and I appreciate you, sir. Thank you for your time. Peace. All right, good afternoon, and I am here with
Jaden.
Thank you, Mr. Jaden, for joining us this afternoon. So I have a couple questions for you, especially on the topic of dialogue. So what is dialogue to you?
There's like good communication between a number of parties, to get things done or just to express different emotions or.
All right, most definitely. So do you feel like as Duke students, we have more dialogue or more meaningless, casual conversation?
I feel like I've had a lot of good dialogue here just because of the students here have been all so smart and all have different ideas, to bring to the table. But there also is a lot of meaningless conversation that we have here as well. But I would probably say more meaningless conversations, to be honest. But a lot of you do get a select few of good dialogue. Just from learning, being able to learn about a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, it's a good answer. So my last question is: in order to practice dialogue, in my opinion, you have to have a growth mindset. So do you feel like as Duke students, do we have more of a growth or a fixed mindset when we go about our day here at Duke?
I actually think we a lot of students have a growth mindset here. A lot of people from different cultures here that I feel like are open to learning, willing to learning. Same with me. I'm always willing to learn about different perspectives. And I have encountered a select few people that have a fixed mindset, but the mass majority, I feel like these students are very good at just opening up and being open to learning about new things.
That's right, man. Well, I appreciate it. Whew. Man, I sure am tired. It's a long day. Talked to a lot of great people. I think it was successful. But my original hypotheses and inferences that I had about the Duke community and Duke standards and Duke students' opinions, I will say we're off. You talk about dialogue. Typically, I feel like the Duke population is pretty smart guys and gals, of course, too. But when you talk about the mindset piece, I came in thinking it was more fixed, right? And so my experiences with people in class, typically fixed mindsets, figuring only one way works. There's only one way to do things. There's only a certain way to do this, a certain way to do that. And that wasn't the case. As you see in the video, you heard from a lot of very intelligent young minds, and they had a whole growth mindset about, the whole Duke student population as well. So I don't know if that's something that's changed as me as a senior, but from my experience, I actually did not experience that. And when you get into the actual dialogue, you talk about dialogue, I think the answer is pretty solid, and which is shocking because in our laboratory space, we kind of really pride ourselves on being different, having that non-banking model, living that growth mindset in a brave space and trying out and doing new things. And I think it kind of speaks to those different values and different morals we practice in the way that the students were just willing to hop in the interviews, even though they're caught off guard, maybe have been uncomfortable, but they're willing to hop in and grow and, help me out for this video. So thank you to them for that. I'm very appreciative of this. And, I hope you guys gain the same thing that I did. So Dwayne, signing out. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all tap in for the next video. So yeah, peace.